First of all, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the work of so many people over the course of essentially the last 12 months, particularly the work that has been led by Lizzie and by Jane in developing this strategy, and recognizing also that many of you have been very deeply involved as well. And for those of you that were here at last year's National Council, you would know the process, the survey, the work that went in, and really this strategy has brought it all together since last year's National Council. And so this is an opportunity for us to unpack it and understand it in some more depth. This strategy is a whole of EWB strategy. It's aspirational, it's ambitious, and it's inspiring. And every element or entity associated with EWB has a critical role to play. EWB, as we saw, is focused on a mission to connect and educate and empower through humanitarian engineering. This is our vision for 2065. And I put this slide up because this is the breadth of the stakeholder group that EWB engages with and seeks to impact and influence. But underpinning every single one of these stakeholder groups is individuals. And at regions and chapters across EWB, it is in all of these stakeholder groups and with individuals in all of these groups that you engage and you achieve impact. And returning to the earlier discussion, I talked about collective impact. This ecosystem of EWB focused on building the notion of engineering as a profession central to achieving a sustainable and inclusive world is an ecosystem ideally positioned to build collective impact. And just a word about the notion of collective impact. Before considering a collective impact approach, any single entity here can tend to view a problem solely from its own perspective. By bringing together all relevant parties, collective impact initiatives foster a shared understanding of a problem, and that is the first step to solving it. So how does EWB achieve impact? The essence of the model is that we innovate and we influence. EWB has that innovation pathway from schools, through universities, through research, through the field, through prototyping, through scaling up, through building, through establishing social enterprises. And we have a sphere of influence where we scale that impact through thought leadership, through research, through collective action, through coalition building, all building on the innovation and influencing others beyond EWB's ecosystem. So EWB's impact ripples out far beyond EWB, through the sector, our community, and nationally and internationally. So I will run through the 7 aims that we have in our 2020 strategy. 3 of these are external aims, 4 are internal. And I'm going to unpack them with a few examples. But I want to recognize that I cannot go into anywhere near everything that we are doing and you are doing and that we are collectively doing and that we are aspiring to do as we go forward. But here's just a taster. The first aim. Now this aim has domestic as well as international objectives to it. And examples of the emerging strategic capability in EWB to deliver on this includes, firstly, EWB Connect, that is facilitating access to appropriate and community-centered engineering services and infrastructure and technology for poor and marginalized communities across Australia. Second example is members. Members' influence the systems and the institutions through which engineering solutions are delivered. Our members comprise a growing cohort of, across the engineering profession in Australia, and over time, with growing influence, to maximise the positive social outcomes for communities, not least through the schools outreach, through local partnerships, and a wide range of other membership activity. A third example is ATEC, the social enterprise in Cambodia. ATEC is building on the innovation of household biodigesters and scaling a transformative technology-based venture that reduces poverty and has direct impact on health and the environment. We'll be hearing a lot more about ATEC this evening. The second external aim. This aim takes us into influencing sector-wide change. Examples include design summits and the EWB Challenge, inspiring large numbers of students to pursue their engineering careers with a sense of purpose and recognition of the value of engineering and technology for positive social change. Another example, our fieldwork in sanitation in challenging environments has moved from project impact to sector-wide influence in Cambodia. Another example, EWB Connect, again, embedding a culture of shared value and pro bono work in the engineering profession for both domestic and overseas impact. And a fourth example, a recent partnership with the Australian Centre for Corporate Social Responsibility, producing a State of CSR report, focusing attention on the Australian corporate social responsibility contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. That has been beginning a deeper conversation about the role of all industry and business in sustainable and inclusive development outcomes. The third, external aim. This is where EWB's aims become even more transformational. EWB Australia is operating in Cambodia and East Timor, building technical capacity of local partner organisations. At the same time, to achieve the shared vision that every engineer can be an agent of change to create a just and sustainable society, it is local engineers, local engineering students, local engineering faculty and companies that are the local ecosystem that ultimately will transform those countries' sustainable futures. And EWB Australia has a strategic role to play in inspiring local EWB community and networks to mobilise around this goal in many countries in our region. EWB's 2020 strategy also has 4 critical internal aims, without which we can't achieve the external. The first of these, investing in our people. To lead and empower and grow the EWB membership, not for EWB's sake, but for the collective impact that we can achieve. To do that is a really important focus of this National Council. For example, the focus tomorrow is on regions programme strategy. This is a chance for forming a clear articulation of the vital role that regions' activities play in contributing to the broader 2020 EWB strategy. It's also the time where the value of membership to EWB takes real shape, and together we can develop a stronger proposition. We recognise that there are gaps in the current engagement pathway, and these sessions are also to explore creative and innovative new engagement points and opportunities. And then on Sunday, we have a focus on building skills and looking to the future, community development approaches, looking after yourselves and others, exploring how to measure impact, and co-creating what kind of national councils do we want in the future. We have also recognized that staff and board capability and diversity needs to be strengthened. A new staff capability framework is about to be launched, and over the next 12 months we envisage adapting that to the board as well. The board have also aspired to appoint an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander member within the next 12 months into a board position relevant to that person's expertise. EWB recognizes that the type of leadership needed in the engineering, development, and education sectors in the 21st century is a new form of leadership. Some writers talk about adaptive leadership, systems leadership, agile, integral leadership. At EWB, we seek to empower enablers of the mission we have, you all, and these are not only within EWB, but also beyond. So, an organizational paradigm based upon the small giants philosophy that many of you will be familiar with if you've been part of EWB for some time, is what we are building. And this includes the principles of self-management, of evolving organizational purpose, and of collective intelligence. In a book called Reinventing Organizations by a fellow called Frederick Laloux, which staff and board have been studying recently, there's a statement which captures the somewhat revolutionary approach that progressive organizations are taking, and indeed EWB is exploring. And that quote says, "The organization evolves, morphs, expands or contracts in response to a process of collective intelligence. Reality is the great referee, not the CEO, the board, or a committee. What works gathers momentum and energy within the organization. Other ideas fail to catch on and wither." Second internal aim, transforming our systems. So on Sunday, you will be exploring impact monitoring, evaluation, and reporting. This is an area of focus for a cross-organizational team and a very high priority for our strategy. Also, a new finance management system called Zero has been adopted. This system will enable chapters to input, report, track, and monitor all things financial. Again, a session on that tomorrow. Other systems changes that improve effectiveness and efficiency include the integrated use of Salesforce and expansion of teamwork as a collaboration tool. Our third internal aim is around growing our resources. A number of recent and current changes that are focused on increasing our financial and social capital include a greater emphasis on EWB's niche value proposition to position us for specific roles in the growing number of consortia and collective impact funding mechanisms being adopted by donors. For example, DFAT's innovation challenges, humanitarian partnerships, business and NGO partnerships, social enterprise funding opportunities, impact investing mechanisms, and new financing models such as carbon markets and the whole ecosystem of shared value. To follow through on this positioning and equip EWB to expand our resource base, some internal staff restructuring has taken place and will continue to evolve, and a critical new role of business development is currently in the process of recruitment. Our fourth internal aim, increasing our profile. Now, naturally, this goes hand in hand with increasing resources. EWB's 2020 strategy places us squarely in the realm of influence and profile across the 7 stakeholder groups that we highlighted earlier. In each of these groups, the level of change and the type of strategic aspiration that EWB has will drive and require a profile as an organization that builds on the superb brand recognition and brand value that EWB has, and continues our proud characteristic of punching above our weight. We have been continuing the impact publications, as well as failure reporting, and we are looking to diversify the communication and distribution of these insights into both impact and failure. We have a focus to grow our advocacy and thought leadership, and what I referred to earlier around the Australian CSR report is an example of that. We are looking to leverage the successes of our programs in some countries into other countries, particularly looking to leverage the successes from Southeast Asia into the Pacific. So I'll finish on a reminder that our strategy is focused on impact and on influence. And by 2065, our vision is clear. It's ambitious, but it requires all parts of EWB's network, family, and ecosystem to be able to see the type of change amongst all of these stakeholder groups that is articulated as our vision for 2065. Thank you very much.